Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And this is on me learning Vedic astrology. And so I thought I'd take you guys along with me. And I hope that you will have fun with this channel. And I hope that it kind of inspires you as well, or inspires you to participate here. Okay, so let's dive in. The topic of today is the houses in Vedic astrology. So we'll have a look at the chart that we use in Vedic astrology and the houses. And so I'll pretty much be going along with what I've been learning in my course, but also what I've additionally learned through reading books and so on and so forth. Okay, so come with me and we'll just get started. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice about in Vedic astrology is that we don't read from a circular chart, right? So in Western astrology, you have the circular chart, and that's divided into the houses. And but in Vedic, our chart looks different. Anyways, in Vedic, we have a square chart, and this chart is then divided from corner to corner, and then from the middle to the middle, and again, and again, and again. And there you have the Vedic chart. Okay. So in the Vedic chart, the first house is this one. It always starts here at the top. Okay. Now there's a secondary chart, which I'll show you really quickly, which is the South Indian chart. And that one kind of looks like this, in case you've seen it. There's an emptiness in the center, and then it's divided into houses like this. Okay. And in this chart, you'll see, oops, sorry, that's wrong. Uh, Whoops. Okay. In this chart, you'll see where the houses begin by this double sign, or where it ends, right? So I've seen charts where they start off on this side here, and I've seen other charts where they start here. So I don't know, to be honest. If anybody knows, fill me in, fill us all in. But otherwise, I love working more with the North Indian chart. There's also an East Indian chart, which kind of looks similar to the South Indian chart, but they have this sunrise kind of effect in their chart. So it's quite neat. Okay. So that's kind of what their chart looks like. Okay. But I prefer working with the North Indian chart. I think that's the one that most tend to work with. And the first house is here at the top. Okay. And then it goes to the left. So the second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, eighth house, ninth house, 10th house, 11th house, 12th house. Okay. And so you see that the corner, and we'll get to these houses. They have a specific name as well in a second, but you see that the main houses are dead center, and the embellishing houses, I'll call them, are around. But these are also very important, especially this one gets super important in readings a lot. This one is super important in readings a lot. This can be very important, like they all are, right? And this one is also kind of something that I tend to focus in on anyways with my readings. Okay. So there you have it. That's the main chart layout. And let me just try and draw it nicely again. And so 1, 2, 3, 4. I tried, you guys. I just I know I can press shift and then I get a straight line, but I don't really care right now. There's something beautiful about hand-drawn charts, don't you think? So another thing that I've noticed anyways in Vedic is that they tend to list, right, the planets and all of that, right? The planets and the degrees of the sign that the planets are in on the side. So it's not like in tropical where you list all of that information inside the chart. It's, or in some charts in tropical, it's also listed on the side or at the bottom as an extra. But in Vedic, you literally have to look at the chart on the side to see where everything is. And then in your mind, you create the connections, right? So you can draw them on the chart if you choose as well, but I haven't really seen that. So, but maybe I'm not advanced enough yet. That could be as well. I just, like I said, I'm studying. So, anyways, another thing you'll notice in these charts is that they don't really write like in Western charts, Aries, Taurus, right? They don't do that. No, you need to know what where they fall in place, right? That's a really interesting backdrop is knowing your place in life. And knowing your place in life is not the way we speak about it. Like when we say it in English, know your place, it's like correcting a child, right? But in Vedic astrology, it's knowing the role that you're meant to fulfill, right? Knowing the game that you're meant to play, knowing what intention there is in your life and your purpose. So in any case, though, they write numbers. So you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they usually go really small up in the corners, like that. And so I already know that, for example, 10 is Capricorn, right? Because we've been working with that. So 10 becomes Capricorn in your mind, 8 becomes Scorpio, 4 becomes Cancer, right? So you already know Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, that's a 7, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius is 9, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, right? So the next thing is that the first house is called Lagna. And the Lagna or the ascendant is one of the most important houses and information givers in Vedic astrology. Okay, so the Lagna determines your looks, what you look like. It determines your features. It determines your physical body, your appearance, your personality, your vitality, your complexion, your life direction. And the Lord or the ruler of this house becomes one of the most important planets in the entire chart. So that's very similar to Western house, right? So that's this house is also called Tanu or the house of self. And this one really, really, really determines a lot, and we'll see more of that later. The second house, or bhava, the houses are called bhavas. And the second house is called dana. And now, dana bhava is associated with wealth, accumulated assets, family of origin. But what's interesting is that in Western or tropical astrology, it's not really connected to food or speech, right? Face, eyes, early childhood, but here it is. And the emphasis is on speech and how people speak and their family lineage. And it's not just money. Whereas in tropical Western, it's a lot to do with values and finances, the money that you earn, the money that you make. Now, the third bhava is called sahaja or sahaja. Sahaja. Sorry for my writing, but it's kind of hard on the screen here. And Sahaja is about siblings, especially the younger siblings. The elder siblings we see over here, right across in the 11th house. But the younger siblings are in here, and it's also about courage. It's about effort. It's about short journeys. It's about communication, the hands and arms, and neighbors. But it also governs parakrama, and this is personal initiative and willpower, right? Let me write this clearer. This is bothering me. Whoops. Sorry. This is about personal willpower and courage, right? So it's there's a lot more to do with the strength of your will to live in this house called Sahaja. Okay. Now the fourth house or the fourth bhava is called Sukha. And this has to do with mother, home, land, property, vehicles, inner happiness, education, like the foundational education, and the heart. It's called also the house of happiness. And here, the land and vehicles become really important, and it's way more prominent than in tropical astrology. The fifth bhava is called the Putra bhava. And this is also where Purva Punya is placed. Purva, sorry, Pun, yeah. Okay. And the Purva Punya is the collection of past life merits. So in your past lives, you probably did some good deeds at some point, right? So you donated money, helped somebody. And so the merit from those actions, the Purva Punya, is placed into the fifth house, and it will show up as blessings that were carried over from the past life. This is also the house of children, intelligence, creativity, romance, mantras, speculation, like all of that goes in there. Gaming, all of that goes in that house. The sixth house is also really interesting compared to Western astrology. This one is called Ari Bhava. And this has to do with enemies, with debts, disease, service, the services that you offer or provide in life, obstacles, litigation, your maternal uncles. And it's one of the Dusthana, and we're going to get into those, what Dusthanas are in a second, one of the difficult houses. And strong planets here, or a strong house, sixth house, can make people almost invincible or excellent at overcoming enemies and illness. It's not only negative. And so there's similarity to the sixth house in tropical, but there's a lot more emphasis here on open enemies, legal disputes, court battles, struggles. It's all in there. The seventh bhava is called Kalatra. Kalatra. And this has to do, of course, with the spouse and the partner and it being opposite the first, right? So in the Kalatra, there is spouse, partnerships, business partners, a little bit of foreign travel, desires the other. And it's similar in the sense to the Western seventh, but desire is more emphasized here, a lot more, a lot more. But it's still very similar to the Western. The eighth bhava is called the Ayur bhava. And in old, or maybe still now, I don't know, we're not really focusing on that in my course yet, but we focus, you can work out longevity. Supposedly, the Ayurveda is calculated from this house, but it's something that yeah, you know. So, I think you really need to know what you're doing there. But it's the house of death, transformation, hidden things, inheritance, occult, chronic illnesses, sudden events, you know. So very similar to the Western eighth house in that sense. But they call it Ayur. And in the ninth bhava, this is the Dharma bhava. And this one is all about the father, the teachers, the gurus, higher wisdom, religion, philosophy, long journeys, luck, and the past life merit expressed outwardly. So, called the most auspicious house, the Bhagya Bhava. Okay. So, this over here in the fifth, it's the Purva Punya. Over here, it's the Bhagya Bhava. And the emphasis here is on the father and the guru, and it's much stronger than in the tropical. And in the tropical, they place the father in the 10th house, but in Vedic, you find him in the ninth. So then one second here. The 10th house is called Karma Bhava. And this is where you find career, reputation, social status, actions in the world, authority, government. And karma here means deeds and profession, very similar to the Western 10th, but the connection to Rajya, governance and power. It's a powerhouse, okay? Plain and simple. Power. Power is more specifically emphasized. The 11th house is called Labha. Labha. And this is the house of gains, income, fulfillment of desires, the elder siblings. Remember from the third house where the younger siblings were. And right across from that is the 11th house where the elder siblings reside. And it's considered one of the more beneficial houses. And any planet here tends to give material gains. And the sign of the house or the Rashi, I'll write that over here. Rashi equals sign is what lets you know roughly where those gains will come in or how or through. Um, and so it's interesting because in tropical astrology we don't really look at elder siblings, but they're placed in Vedic astrology here in the 11th house. In the 12th house, this is the Vyaya Bhava, and this is the house of moksha, law or spiritual liberation. So they see it as loss, right? Because when you're spiritually liberated, you give up everything here. So loss, expenditure, moksha, foreign lands, sleep, bed pleasures, confinement, the subconscious. And vaya itself means loss or expenditure. And the moksha dimension gives this house a really sacred quality, which is not really there in Western astrology in that sense. The 12th is mostly about hidden enemies, isolation, the subconscious. You guys know the drill. So the most important differences are these: the Purva Punya and the past life merit in the fifth house. The eighth house that they used to, I don't know if they're, people are still like, let me know again, but they used to calculate lifespan, not anymore. The ninth house with father and the Dharma and the Bhagya Bhava. So the outwardly lived blessings that come from past lives. And the 12th house having moksha and spiritual liberation as a primary theme. Okay. So there's that. Now, there are house categories as well that we work with. And these house categories, and the house categories are there are Kendra houses, and these are the angular houses. So I'll just do this angular houses. And these are 1, 4, 7, and 10. Okay. Purva Punya. So the Kendra houses are the 4 pillars of the chart: 1, 4, 7, and 10. Okay. And they are the most powerful houses for planets to occupy. Kendra itself means center, and the planets here have a strong direct influence on the life. The first, fourth, and seventh form a cross as well. And so beneficial planets in Kendras are really good for overall life strength in that sense. Then there are the trichonas. Tricona. And these are the houses 1, 5, 9. Okay. So tricona 1, 5, and 9. So you can see the triangle. And these are the most auspicious houses in the chart. These houses relate to Dharma, merit, and divine grace. The first house does double duty. It is both a Kendra and a Trikona. And this is one of the reasons why the first house is also so powerful. Lords of the Trikona houses are considered natural benefics for the chart, regardless what planet rules them. Okay, so these are the good houses. Remember that. And the lords of these houses are benefics, they are helpers, they are friends. So then they have the Dustana houses, and Dustana are the difficult houses. These are, it means Dustana itself means bad place. And this is 6, 8, and 12. Okay. And these houses, and let me write that, Dustana, these houses relate to enemies, to death, to loss, and malefic planets can actually do well here in these houses by subduing negative significations. So, a strong Mars, for example, in the sixth house could be a good thing. Whoops, sorry. Could be a good thing, strong Mars, because it can subdue enemies, can take them out. So even if you have a lot of enemies, if you have a strong Mars there, you'll be taking out enemies one after the other, right? So there, that's pretty. So and natural benefics though here tend to suffer. These houses are not purely negative. The sixth house builds resilience, the eighth gives occult depth, and the 12th gives spiritual liberation. Then you also have the Upachaya houses. Upachaya. And those are 3, 6, 10, and 11. And Upachaya means to increase over time. So these houses improve with age and effort. And malefic, and that would be 3, 6, 10, and 11. So the older you get, the more effort you put in, the more you learn, the better, for example, your speech becomes in house 3, that is focused on speech, right? And how you communicate, or on courage, or on 11, network and community building, or on 10, your career, right? Dealing with the enemies, or your health in the sixth house. Sixth house is also a house of health. So these houses improve with age and effort. You can put effort into these houses and it will become more beneficial. Malefic planets like Saturn and Mars thrive in Upachaya houses because their competitive, persistent energy suits the growing nature of these houses. And so as you mature, there is hope. This is not something, this is not a program that runs from beginning to end exactly the same. You can influence this, and that's what I love so much too about learning Vedic. A lot of people think it's very determinist, but the more I dive into it, I'm realizing it's really not at all. So then you have the moksha houses, and those are 4, 8, and 12. Okay, so moksha, moksha, moksha. And these are they form the moksha trikona, so the moksha triangle. And they are connected to your inner life, to dissolution, transformation, and ultimately they lead you or force you to spiritually liberate, lead you to spiritual liberation. So the fourth is inner peace and what brings you inner peace. The eighth is death and rebirth and what triggers you to transform. And the 12th is the final release. So people with strong planets in these houses have a deeply inward or spiritual orientation. Then you have the Maraca houses. Okay. And these are 2 and 7. And Maraca means killer. And the lords of the second and the seventh, Maraca, Maraca, are called Maraca lords and are considered capable of causing serious crises during their planetary periods, or called dashas. And I'll get into dashas in a future video, uh, especially in old age or when you are in a vulnerable position. So these connect to the eighth house. And it sounds dramatic, but in practice, it just means that these lords of the second house and of the seventh house can bring significant life changes or challenges at pivotal times. Okay. So then you can also group these houses into the Dharma houses, which are the houses 1, 5, and 9. And those houses show your purpose, Dharma, 5, Dharma, and Dharma. And those houses show your purpose, your righteousness, and your soul path. Then you've got the Artha houses, which are Artha, which are 2, 6, and 10. And these houses show your work resources. Okay. These houses show your work resources, wealth, work and effort, like how much effort you put into things or have to put into things, and how you gain in life resources, your material stuff, like these are in the Artha houses. You've got the Kama houses, which are 3, 7, and 11. And these are desire, fulfillment, and relationships. Okay, this is where you go out and you initiate your relationships. Remember, in the fourth, this is what you're born into, these kind of relationships. But in the 11th, you're creating community networks, your friends, all of that. In the 7th, it's your relationships, your love relationships, your partner, your spouse. And the 3rd is your immediate family, close friends, things of that nature. And these will influence your desires, right? And you will be influenced in these by your desires. So, who you choose to create community with, who you choose to go into a relationship with, right? So, desires are very much a part of these 3 houses. Then you've got the moksha houses, and those are 4, 8, and 12, as we've said before over here. Okay. So already went through the moksha houses, which are here 4, 8, and 12. So remember, the 4th is inner peace. Your 8th is your transformation and ego dissolution and what causes you to transform. And the 12th is when you release, let go, your spiritual liberation. Okay. So you'll notice that some houses appear in multiple categories. Like you'll find house number 6 in the Dustana, so the bad place, and the Upachaya, the place that you can work on and through your own effort rise up out of. And it just goes to show how everything is integrated and complex, and how it's all these wheels turning within wheels that keep everything going, right? So there's also this Bhavat Bhavam principle, and let me just erase all this. The Bhavat Bhavam principle is really interesting. One second. You can speed this up. So Bhavat Bhavam. And this principle is house from house, right? House from house. And that means that the nth house from a house also describes that house's significations. So from the 7th house is the first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And so it's influenced. Your own personality affects your partnerships. And it's a beautiful concept, and it shows the internet, yeah, the interconnectedness of the chart. So you can literally count the houses all around, and for example, the 4th house from house number 4, and so on and so forth. and see which house and which planet and which combination is affecting that house you're in. So the fourth from the fourth in this example would be, well, clearly, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the relationships and your inner peace are connected, right? So it's very cute. It's very cute, and that gives you a lot of information as well. Okay, so I'll just draw interconnected there. And then you have, of course, a planet's behavior in a house changes based on what it rules. Okay, so that's clear. I think that's the same or very similar, of course, in tropical astrology. So this is why the same planet in the same house can act very differently for different lagnas. Okay, so yeah. Okay, let's say you have Jupiter in your first house and your, I don't know, your ninth house, okay, is well, it actually is Sagittarius. That's why I gravitated non-thinkingly towards it. But Jupiter rules Sagittarius, right? So whatever's in your ninth house is going to be affecting your lagna, okay? Whatever Jupiter rules, it's going to drag that energy into the first house if that's where it's sitting, okay? So, but it's also going to affect your ninth house. So clearly, okay. And whatever it's gonna play with that. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So also empty houses are really important, just like in Western astrology. If you, even if there's nothing in there, let's say, I don't know, uh 12th house, that's your empty house anyways, right? So a house of loss. So let's say it's completely empty. It doesn't matter because watch the Rashi or the sign. What Rashi is here? And based on which Rashi is there, right? What's the Lord of that Rashi? And then you go looking for the Lord of that Rashi. Let's say it's, I don't know, you've got Gemini in here. So you go looking for Buddha or Mercury, and let's say it's, I don't know, over here in your fifth house, you've got Mercury in the fifth house, then this would play a role in whatever's going on in the 12th. Okay. So I think that's it for the houses and what I can give you today. And of course, if you are, let me switch back to me here. If you are interested in diving even deeper, I am going to, this channel is all about learning about Vedic astrology, and it follows me as I go through my lessons, as I learn things. And so I'll be starting with the 27 nakshatras eventually, but right now I'm just setting up the foundation and the structures for it. So if you have anything to contribute or you would like to correct me, I'm absolutely, I love to learn. Don't hesitate and comment in the comment section below. Let me know and add to it. Add to, what I'm presenting here. Anyways, thanks for joining me on this journey, and I hope to see and hear from you soon. Take care and enjoy.